Hello and welcome to my end of rotation update for Game Nouveau by Geckorouge. This piece is being stitched on 25 count magic guide and I'm stitching 1/1. This rotation that I'm working on sees me spend 2 weeks on 2 large projects. I'm working this kit and also a stitch in time from Heaven and Earth Designs. During the 2 weeks I'll spend an evening or two on smaller projects, especially when I feel I'm getting distracted from the current project or that I'm not making a lot of progress on it, as they do contain a lot of confetti. At the start of the rotation I was working on this area. The piranha plant was full of colour changes, but there were some blockier areas of the background to switch out with when I felt like I wanted to work on a colour for more than a handful of stitches. Once that page was finished, I went straight on with the next page. I almost always work one page at a time, and lucky with that I don't have problems with page lines showing up on my stitching. On this page, however, I'm going over the edges of the page line because I'm working with very light colours, and it's such a focal point on the project that if there was to be a problem, it would be too noticeable. I like to work my large projects in columns. I've experimented with a few different ways and found that I like to focus on small sections. If I don't do that, I spend too much time trying to plan a route and checking ahead all of the time, instead of stitching. Stitching in columns does sometimes give my work a bumpy feel because the middle of the column seems to be thicker with the travelling threads, so I decided that I'll mix it up a little now. So if a colour continues over into the next column, I'll work those stitches as well. As you can see, I've done here with the hair and parts of the face. This seems to give the columns a natural feathering to the edges, and the surface of the work feels a lot more even now. In some areas it does mean that I work across a few columns for some colours, especially on the background areas here with the dark grey. Sometimes means that I do end up working a couple of rows entirely across the page. I do like to save those ones for the times I have some particularly fiddly areas of colour changing so I can work on the detail, and then I'd work on the background for a length of the thread. Now it's not because I don't like stitching confetti, it's because I get easily distracted when I have to stitch a large area of one colour. I do park, but I haven't done so often on this piece, just in the areas that contain a lot of the colour changes. In her hair there were a few sweeps of colours which you could probably just about see. So I found myself following those and building it up that way, which was probably a lot more finishing thread and me starting it rather than trailing threads across the back. Her hair has been fun to stitch so far. I really like the way the colours blend together to form the shading, and it darkens as it gets towards her face. I managed to get a lot done during the 2 weeks, and I'm ready to swap to my other project now. I'll probably do another just stitching video or two on that project, and they'll probably include more parking, and then I'll probably do another of these update videos at the end of the next 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer them. Enjoy your stitching.